Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new, my name is Sierra and I'm so glad that you could be joining me today because we have a part 2 to a video I originally filmed like a year ago, I'm pretty sure. And that is, of course, my social media is a lie. I love diving into my different social media accounts and different aspects of social media and just sharing the stories behind it. I think it really gives a more personal, realistic touch because obviously we all know what we see on social media isn't always the truth. So if you haven't seen the first video I made, I'll link it down below. So basically I went through all of the posts on my Instagram account at the time and I shared the stories behind them. Today, since I only have posted like 4 things since that video, I really need to post on Instagram more. Today we are going through my public highlights. So if you don't know, if you don't have Instagram, highlights are the Instagram stories that you choose to save to the front of your profile. People can go and view them at any time they want. They don't expire after 24 hours. So I have 4 categories on my Instagram. We have my memories, we have my boyfriend, we have art, and we have pictures of the sky. Ooh, she quirky. So we are going to go ahead and begin with the memories. So the first one that pops up is a close friend's story highlight, and that is a picture of a little tattoo on my ankle. I'm not gonna read fully what it says because I don't think YouTube would like me very much if I did, but essentially I said 3 hours of tattooing myself later and I'm not half mad about the results thus far. Also ignore the dark parts on my foot. It's excess ink that hasn't been washed off yet. So essentially, ladies and gentlemen, I was a dumb teenager. I was, I believe, 16 years old when I did this. I was very, very impatient when it came to wanting to get tattooed. I did not want to wait until 18. I wanted it now. So I ordered like needles and ink off of Amazon. And obviously I still lived with my parents at the time. And I was so scared about being caught because I wasn't allowed to lock my bedroom door. So I waited until like 3 in the morning to tattoo myself, essentially. And that's not the only time I did this. I'm going to say this abundantly clear. I do not think anybody should tattoo themselves if they are not a professional tattoo artist. I think it is super dangerous. You could get infected. I'm very lucky I wasn't infected. Don't do it, okay? You can wait until 18 and get your tattoos then. The next one is just a simple Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays post with like some Polaroids. My parents had gotten me a Polaroid printer for Christmas, and if you don't have one, I highly recommend it. They're super cool. Instead of just like a regular Polaroid camera, you can take the photos that are on your phone and get them printed out as Polaroids. This is a little bit of a photo dump from the state fair. I just remember that on this day specifically, I had come from work because it was my day off, but work called me in because I was in training to become a manager. So they needed me there to do like a class for like a couple hours, and then I changed in the bathroom and then went to the fair. This one was when there was a literal fire like right down the road from us. It was actually on our side of the street. So this was when I was still living with my parents. I was coming home from school and there's smoke everywhere and there's cars going like the opposite way of me to leave the town I lived in, and I was like entering it, and traffic was absolutely insane. I pulled up to my parents' house and they're like screaming at me to just like leave, like turn around and get out. And I was like, what's going on? and yeah, there was a pretty big fire. It had jumped the street. There was quite a few and it was getting like closer to us. So my parents had grabbed their cats, thrown them in the car, told me to leave. And no, it was like very, very scary. But that's like the closest I've ever come to like fire, like a wildfire. And I remember just driving because we decided that our meetup place would be my high school. So I was driving back to school and I just remember everybody was driving like so crazily, like rushed, like everybody was panicking. So there was like a lot of very, very close calls and I was definitely responsible for some of them. I was freaking out. Luckily, no car accidents. Everybody got where they were going, I assume, safely. Yeah, we just sat in the school parking lot for about like 2 hours trying to figure out what to do. And then we went to get some Mexican food for dinner. And by the time dinner was over, the lovely firefighters in our area had already put it out. And yeah, we got really, really lucky, honestly. Just a quirky picture of a vinyl on my record player. This was the Bad Flower concert I went to. I posted a couple photos from this concert on my story and on my regular feed. I don't know if I told this story in my last video. I might have, so I'll just summarize it here. Basically, was not allowed to go to this concert. I was 17 at the time. I told my parents I was going to the movies with my friend for their birthday, and I went to this concert by myself. It was a festival. And another situation, I'm very happy I was okay. These photos were taken at like a neighborhood that like gets super like into Christmas and like Christmas lights and decorating outside. And what they basically do is it's like paid entrance to this like little like cul-de-sac neighborhood. It's like $5 and you like walk through it. It's not like a drive-through. You like get out of your car and you like walk through and like you see all the houses. And it's super decked out. It was super, super cool. I do remember this day in particular. Something about my family growing up. Whenever we went to look at Christmas lights, there would always be a fight. And it was normally between me and my mother. And this time was no different. This time was actually pretty bad if I remember correctly. But it was pretty much a tradition growing up that whenever we went to look at Christmas lights, there would always be a fight, which always sucked because we'd always look at Christmas lights like the week or a couple days before Christmas. Snow Bear, I built this with my mom and my little brother outside of their home when we got like so much snow. I live in an area that either gets like a ton of snow or no snow whatsoever. And yeah, it was cute. I'm pretty sure this was during a power outage too. This was the day I got this tattoo right here. That tattoo, fun fact, took literally all day. It was a walk-in day. I forgot what they call them. But basically the tattoo studio opens it up. Books are completely open. There's no appointments. You just walk in, put your name on a list. They call you back and you go in and get the tattoo. I put my name on the list like right when they opened. And I did not get a call back until I believe it was like 8 o'clock at night. Like the studio had already closed by then, but they were still trying to fit people in, which was super, super cool. But I should have gone home and then just like came back later. Instead, I sat in my car for the entire day. And the only thing I ate was like a small McDonald's fry and like a couple sips of like apple juice. So coming home from this tattoo appointment, I felt so bad, so dizzy. And I got home and my parents, I was already 18 at the time, but my parents were like, where were you? And they were super suspicious because it's a fairly small tattoo. It should not take more than like an hour at most. My parents aren't the biggest fans of tattoos and this one is their least favorite and they were not very happy about it. This one was when my car broke down for the second time. My first car, which was technically like my parents' car, but they let me drive it, it was like an issue with the engine where the engine would just shut off and wouldn't turn back on. So the first time it broke down was on my way to like a tattoo consultation and it broke down while I was on the highway. Like I was getting onto an exit because the gas pedal wasn't working. So I was like, I'll just get off. I should have pulled on to the shoulder and instead I stayed in the lane because I was like, maybe it just needs gas. And there was a gas station right around the corner. Yeah, long story short, it broke down in the middle of the off-ramp and I got yelled at and I started crying and some really nice people helped me push my car. The second time it broke down was on my way to school and I was a lot happier about it breaking down then because I got to get out of school. My dad came and sat with me while we waited for the tow truck, which took like 3 hours. And then we got donuts. I'm gonna blur out the sign. You can guess where I worked. But yeah, the police were called there so many times. So many times. Like, I received death threats. I was 16 getting death threats over like a burger being wrong. And it was a crazy job. So this one is from the day I got my snake tattoo. And it was actually a really good day. The snake tattoo, if you recall, is probably one of my least favorite tattoos just because up close it's kind of botched. And I knew that walking out of the studio too. My older brother, came up to see me and we got Wendy's and we just hung out, which was really, really cool because he lived like an hour away from us. So I didn't really see him all that often because we were both busy with like work and stuff, but that was really cool. And especially since he came up just to see me and hang out. And he lives in South Dakota now. So moving on to the boyfriend story highlights. This one is like, why is this in the boyfriend one? We worked together. I was his manager. If you recall, we got fired together for crazy story time. That one's on my channel too. This was during Halloween, and they had like little like stickers that you put together to make a character for like the children. And we created this and we stuck it on the drive-through window. And the background person, which you can kind of see, is Zach. And I think that's all we're gonna do for today. This video is getting kind of long. If you like this one and you want to see more, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know what social media you want me to dive into next. I could do Twitter, I could do TikTok. We could go back into my old YouTube channel again. That's always fun. Let me know. If you like this video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe down below. I love you guys so much. You have no idea how much I appreciate you. And yeah, you can follow my socials over here. And I will see you guys in the next video. Take care of yourselves. I love you. Bye.